Okay, hello everybody. My name is Lawrence van der Kruisen. I'm from Osmos. I will start sharing my screen. I hope you can see my screen. Welcome to the online training sessions from the EU-FarmBook. What I want to share with you in advance is that this is one session of a series of online training sessions. There will be others on, for instance, topics such as API integration, API connection, but there will also be one in the future on batch uploading of multiple knowledge objects. This current session will be on manual uploading. The training sessions that you want to sort of follow up, you can always go to the training sections webpage where you see a QR code here. I want to inform you that this webinar is being recorded because that way we can share it afterwards online, but you are not filmed. So there's no issue with regards to GDPR. And I see that we are getting quite some questions. Maybe this is involved. So Hercules, are you seeing my shared screen correctly?
Yes, I can see your screen, Lawrence.
Okay. So the recording will be made available online, and we are asking you any possible questions to ask these questions in the chat. I will be following up on the chat. The way that the presentation will go is that Hercules Panatsopoulos from Agricultural University of Athens will be demonstrating the platform, showing how you upload a knowledge object. And in the meantime, you can ask questions, and afterwards we go into a Q&A where I present these questions to Hercules. Now, without further ado, I will stop sharing my screen and I will give the word to Hercules.
Perfect. Thank you, Lawrence. Good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to have you all on board. Thanks for registering for this training session. The idea is to give you an as detailed description as possible about how you can use our platform's upload form in order to make your contributions, your knowledge object contributions to our platform. But Lawrence, I may take a small portion of our time in order to say a few things about the contributions expected to be made to the platform. So there is content that is produced in various EU-funded projects that are currently in progress all over Europe, and there are some very nice results that are being produced by all those projects, and these are the results we want to invite people to contribute to our platform by using our upload form as one of the means we have at our disposal for doing so. So the upload form does provide the means to make the contributions, but it is also important to consider what a potential knowledge object contribution could be. So anything delivered from the projects you are working on that is of value and importance to practitioners and advisors could qualify as a knowledge object or as a practice-oriented material, as is the way we tend to refer to those knowledge objects. Deliverables could be such a case, but when it comes to that particular result of a project, which is also an official obligation of projects towards the European Commission, it might be good to reconsider the way deliverables are named before submitting them to the EU-FarmBook platform. Sometimes the title of an object that is available from a platform can always, create some motivation and expectations before people access the actual content and take a look at it. So I wanted to make this point in order to give you a rough idea about what could qualify as a knowledge object for our platform. Now, in order to show you how you can use the upload form in order to make your contributions, I thought that it would be better to make a live demonstration of it and show you exactly how the upload form can be used. So everything starts from the landing page of our platform. This is the landing page. You can access the landing page through the URL www.eu-farmbook.eu, and at the top right corner of the page, you can see the login button. This is the button you need to click on in order to access the form via which you are able to log into the platform. Of course, to do so, you must first need to have an account. And in order to have an account, you need to be assigned as contributors of knowledge objects from the coordinator of the project for which you are going to make contributions. So there is a process that needs to be taken up front. This relates to the registration of a coordinator of a project and the project or projects that person coordinates. And then the coordinator has the task to assign contributors per project. In other words, persons who will be able to use the upload form after the creation of an account for themselves and make contributions. So as you can see, I have logged in, and after logging in, I can see the Add Contribution button at the top right corner of my screen. By clicking on that button, I'm able to access the upload form. So in essence, this is the very first screen you can see after logging into the EU-FarmBook platform and accessing the upload form by clicking at the Add Contribution button. A thing that is pretty straightforward and evident on that screen is that the process of the contribution of knowledge objects is stepwise. So there are 3 distinct steps you need to follow in order to make a contribution to the upload form, with the help, of the upload form. The first step is to select the project for which one or more knowledge object contributions are to be made. This list of projects will be appearing on your screen based on what assignments have been made to you by project coordinators. For the sake of our presentation today, I have been assigned the role of contributor for the Eurachnos project, one of the projects that were the predecessors of the EU-FarmBook project. So in other cases, there may appear more than one project. So you just have to click on the project that is the project for which contributions are to be made from your side. You select the project by just clicking on it, and then you click on the next step button, which will allow you to directly go to the second step, which is the actual process of the knowledge object submission. One thing you can do before going on with the actual knowledge object submission is that you can change the details of the project. I mean, you can change the project for which you are making the contribution in case you made a wrong selection from the initial screen just because of the fact that you might be on a rush. So you may correct the selection of the project for which the contribution is made, click on the next button again, and get redirected to step 2. So let's move on and see how the actual contribution of a knowledge object is made. The first thing that has to be made is the upload of the physical file of the knowledge object. And as you can see, there is, at least for the moment, a size limit for the files to be uploaded, and that limit is 150 megabytes, which at least for the moment, can be considered as an adequate size for a knowledge object that may be videos. So you click on the Choose a File link, which will open a dialog box in your computer. And with that dialog box, you can navigate through your local file system in order to select the knowledge object, the file of the knowledge object you need to upload. So as you can see, I selected the knowledge object. It's not an actual knowledge object in this case. It's a file I'm using as an example for the sake of our presentation. The file has been uploaded. You can see the size of the file. And let's take a moment here to refer to a very important feature already incorporated in our upload form, which has to do with the potential to add more files in the upload form, even at this step, with those additional files being different language versions of the same knowledge object. So, in order to better explain, let us assume that the knowledge object you are about to contribute is available not only in English, which is the language that could be considered as the default language for providing results in a European project, but let's say that you have a knowledge object available in other languages as well. In order to make all those language versions available, you can do so at once without having to use the upload form and fill in other fields multiple times. And this is done by clicking on the Add a Translated Version link. So in that case, I don't have other language versions of the same knowledge object, but if there were more files here, being the other language versions of the same knowledge object, you would again click on the physical file and you would have the second, the third, and so on file uploaded, and you would be also able to select the language in which the content is available in each of those language versions of your knowledge object. So in essence, after the implementation of that step, you may have more than one files uploaded, being different language versions of the same knowledge object, and with the language of each language version being explicitly indicated. After having completed the file upload step, it's time to move on with the provision of the metadata we need in order to make our knowledge object available through the EU-FarmBook platform, by also providing some background information that will allow people interested in our knowledge object to know what our knowledge object is actually about. Allow me to say that this is a very important part of the upload process, because the more specific, the more detailed, the more correct, if I may say so, our metadata is, the more visible and the more findable our knowledge object will be. So it is up to us to be careful when providing metadata values to our knowledge object, in order to make sure that these metadata values represent in a fair extent what our knowledge object is about, and let people easily find it. Some features, some visual and textual prompts available in our upload form are the following, and I will let you know in order to give you an idea of how to better use the upload form. On the left side of each metadata name, you can see an asterisk. So the first metadata property we need to provide a value for is the title of our knowledge object. The asterisk on the left of that label means that this metadata property is mandatory. So I cannot complete the upload process without having provided a value to that metadata property. Of course, you may easily see that in each case, there is a very short text indicating what you are supposed to provide as input to that specific value. And apart from that, you may also see an info icon on the right side of most metadata labels that info icon opens a box, a short text box that gives some more details and information about what the specific metadata property is, and in essence, what to need to provide as a value. So let's, after having said all those details, let's move on. I will give some dummy values as values to the metadata properties here, just for the sake of the example. So let's give this as a dummy title for the knowledge object. In your case, you will provide the title already available in the physical file of your knowledge object. Let me also say that all metadata values need to be provided in English, even if you have added files of the knowledge object in languages other than English. So we have provided the title for our knowledge object, and then we need to provide a short description, a short summary, or an abstract, if you prefer. That short text should not be more than 500 words. It needs to provide key information, key aspects of what the knowledge object is about. If there is already such a short description available, you may provide it already. And if it's more than 500 words, you may probably have to cut off some text in order to comply with the 500-word limitation there. Let me provide a short text for the sake of our example. So let's say that this is a short summary of our knowledge object. The next metadata property for which a value has to be provided is the category to which our knowledge object belongs. So you may already know it. In case you do not know it, this is the right time and place to let you know about this. We distinguish among 7 big knowledge object categories, and these are the categories you can already see on your screens. These categories relate to the format and the medium through which a knowledge object may become available. So we have documents, videos, images. When saying images, you may have infographics in mind. Datasets could also be a category of knowledge object that could potentially be provided to the EU-FarmBook platform. Slideshows and presentations, audio files, podcasts is a very good example of an audio file that could be considered. And we also provide the option to contribute software applications to our platform. In our case, we are dealing with a document, and by the moment I click on a specific category, there is a hidden part of the upload form that appears. And that hidden part contains 2 subparts. Subpart number 1, a field that prompts me to provide a digital object identifier, which is, as you know, which serves as a unique identifier for our knowledge object. This is not mandatory. There is no asterisk on the left side of the name of the metadata property we are dealing with, but in the case that the digital object identifier is available for the knowledge object you are providing, it would be good to have it. So I will leave it blank because for this specific knowledge object I'm providing, there is no digital object identifier. And let's move to the next subpart of the section of the upload form that appeared after selecting a specific category, which is the type. In the way we model, we structure knowledge objects, we assign specific types to each category. So depending on the category you selected a few seconds ago, the list of types you will be able to see on your screens will differ. And these are the types that particularly relate to the category of knowledge object you have selected. Also, keep in mind and take a look at the different, let's say, ways in which you can make selections. When you select a category, only one category can be selected. However, when it comes to type, more than one types may be selected, and this is because of the fact that a knowledge object concerning each type may relate to more than one of the types available in our list. In our case, we may say that our knowledge object is a fact sheet. So in that case, I will click the fact sheet option. In some other case, someone might click on the brochure and the guide options in case the knowledge object that person contributes could be characterized both as a brochure and a guide. So keep in mind that more than one types can be selected. Then we move on to keywords. This is a very important field to provide values to. When providing keywords to your knowledge objects, try to wear the hat of a person who accesses the EU-FarmBook platform in order to find content. So try to provide keywords by thinking how yourselves would search for the knowledge object and use keywords that will be appropriate for making your knowledge object easily findable by users. Keywords may not comprise of one word each. This means that we can have key phrases instead of keywords. Let me give some examples here. So in my case, keywords that can relate to the knowledge object I provide are smart farming, smart irrigation, and protection of the environment. These are three arbitrary keywords I'm using right now just for the sake of the example. You may provide more than one keywords or key phrases. There is no actual limitation to the number of keywords or key phrases you can provide, but keep in mind that the number 7 could be used as a rule of thumb. So providing up to 7 keywords could be enough. And you can separate each keyword or each key phrase from each other with a comma sign. So after having provided keywords, we move on with the next metadata property, which is the characterization, the selection of the topics and subtopics our knowledge object relates, or to better say, the topics and subtopics the content of our knowledge object relates. Someone might ask, you refer to topics and subtopics. We can see no subtopics yet. We cannot see no subtopics yet because no topic has been selected. And of course, topic is a mandatory metadata property to be filled. It couldn't be in a different way. And as you can also see, more than one topics can be selected. By clicking on the info button, you have a description of what this metadata property is about. And another piece of advice I would like to provide is that detailed explanations of all our metadata properties, what each of those metadata properties is about, and an explanation of the values we provide in cases of metadata properties for which you need to select a value from a fixed set of values. All that information is available in our metadata guide, which can be accessed and downloaded from the support section of our platform. Here is the link to the support section. I will not click on this right now because it will direct us to another part in our platform. So in our case, and also considering the keywords I have provided, keywords are sometimes a nice indication of topics a knowledge object is about. So in the case of the knowledge object in our example, the topics we are dealing with are crop farming and environment. So you saw that as I was clicking on each of those two topics, the subtopics list appeared and the values changed because the subtopic values depend on what topic selections I have done earlier. So this is a quite detailed list of subtopics from which I can select and further characterize my knowledge object with more information. More than one subtopics can be selected as well. And in my case, subtopics that qualify for the knowledge object I provide is climate and climate change. I would also say competitiveness, farm diversification, new business models, and social innovation. Of course, I'm making these selections just for the sake of the example. Keep in mind that the appropriate selection of topics and subtopics for your knowledge object is critical because this is also a piece of information that will allow people to easily identify your knowledge object. After the selection of the topic or topics and the subtopic or subtopics, it is time to provide information about who the creator of the knowledge object is. Of course, there may be more than one creators, and there is the option to provide information only for one or more knowledge object creators, depending on what is the case. Here, I will provide my name and my email address. So these are the information of the creator. In order to submit the information of a creator, even if no more creators exist, you have to click on the Add Creator button. So by clicking on that button, I can make sure that the information of the creator of the knowledge object has been actually submitted. I can remove this information in case a mistake has been made and provide that information again. But I can also provide information about more authors, more creators. And each time I provide information for a creator, I need to click on the Add Creator button. Another useful piece of metadata is the one that relates to license. We need to provide specific information about how our knowledge object could be reused by other people. And in order to do so, we provide you the option to select a Creative Commons license and attach it to your knowledge object. You can have access to information about what each of the available Creative Commons license is about by clicking on the info button. There is information about each license type in the helper that appears, but you can also go to the official Creative Commons website and take a look at more details. You may also see that a selection has already been made for you, and this is the selection of the CC BY license. It's the license mostly used, and this is also the license used by default in the Zenodo platform. Of course, you may feel free to change the license you wish to assign to your knowledge object. You may also click the other option if no such license qualifies. Our advice is to keep the option that already appears in case you have no strong objections with the terms and conditions of reuse that are described in the CC BY license of Creative Commons. In order to finish the supply of metadata for our knowledge object, there are 3 more steps that need to be taken. The first one relates to adding some information about the purpose for which the knowledge object has been developed and made available, or if you want to put it another way, the kind of use for which our knowledge object makes a better fit. More than one selections are available. In the case of the example we are making right now, I will select dissemination, communication, and education training. So this way I'm saying that this is a knowledge object that has content that could be used for education/training purposes, as well as for communication and dissemination. I need to provide information about the date at which the knowledge object was completed and made available. Let's say that the knowledge object I provided became available on the 2nd of February 2020. In some cases, you may not have a full date as information for the date of completion of the knowledge object, so you may feel free to provide the least amount of date-related information available to you, even if this least amount is just the year in which the knowledge object was developed, was created. Finally, a final piece of information is the one named geographic location or geographic locations. What we mean by this is that you can select the names of specific countries to which the content of the knowledge object relates. To give you an example and make it clearer to you, try to imagine that a knowledge object relates to a method that has developed in the context of a project in relation to the growing of a specific type of crop. And this method has been applied in a specific country or in more than one specific countries. These countries can be indicated by making a selection through the list available here. So let's say that the knowledge object I have provided as an example describes such a method that has been applied and tested in Austria, Belgium, and Croatia. So by selecting these countries, I make this geospatial, if I could say so, information available. So that's all with the supply of values to our metadata properties. I have provided values to all metadata properties, and I'm ready to move next by clicking the Submit button. In case I have forgotten to provide a value to one of the mandatory values, to the mandatory properties, I will not be able to move to this step, which is a review and editing step, and I will be prompted to take a better look in the previous screen and see what was the metadata property or metadata properties for which a value was not assigned. I will zoom out a bit here in order to give you an as comprehensive idea of that screen as possible. So in essence, that screen gives you an overview of all the information you have provided in the previous step for your knowledge object. And you can see that beneath the name of each metadata property, there is a link you can click on in order to change the value you have provided. So if a mistake was made in the previous step, and it is now the moment you have realized so, there is no need to stress, no need to say that mistakes will be in the contribution you will make with your knowledge object. There is no such case. You have the option to correct any mistake that was made. And you can either finalize your contribution and actually submit your knowledge object to the platform, or move on with the submission of another knowledge object. And this is a very nice feature because when you use the upload form for making submissions of knowledge objects for a specific project, you may have more than one knowledge objects to contribute. This will save you some time because you will not have to provide project-related information all over again. It's not a time-consuming step, the supply of the information of the project you are making contributions for, but it's something you can skip and move on with the actual contribution of knowledge objects. In my case, there is no other knowledge object to contribute, so I can move next and finalize my contribution. Here is an overview of the metadata properties I have provided, a very short summary of what I have provided. I can still edit the properties I have provided, the values I have provided to the metadata properties, just in case there is any mistake that persists, that still persists. And then, the moment I am sure everything is perfectly fine and okay, I click on this magic button with the label Submit Contribution and the envelope that flies upwards in order to actually submit my knowledge object to the EU-FarmBook platform. This is the third step of the process. As you can see, the final part of the review and upload process, step of the process. I will not click on the button because it will add to the platform a dummy knowledge object which is not useful to anyone, but you will definitely have to do so in order to submit your knowledge object to the EU-FarmBook platform and let the community access it and make use of it. So I think, Lawrence, that I will put a full stop here and give the floor to our guests for any questions from their side. I don't know whether I shall stop sharing my screen or not.
I think you will have to use your screen for one of the questions in any case. So,
Okay.
First of all, thank you very much for your quite elaborate presentation. I think this was very informative to a lot of our guests. There are also several questions that came in. One of the first questions was actually, well, who can upload? If I am a partner of an EU project, but the coordinator is someone else, can I actually register and upload these published materials, or only the coordinator can do this?
Yes, this is a very good question. In theory, both scenarios can be implemented. I mean, we definitely need to have a project coordinator registered for one or more projects into the EU-FarmBook platform, which means that the coordinator could also be assigned the role of contributor. That role could be assigned to her or himself. But another scenario is that, and that might probably be the most frequent scenario, and this is what we initially had in mind in any case. So a coordinator will normally assign the role of contributor to one or more persons from within the project consortium in order to take care of the knowledge object contribution process. I would also extend that question, Lawrence, and I would say whether a contributor could also be a creator of a knowledge object. And the answer to this question is also yes. It's not mandatory for a contributor to be a creator of a knowledge object, but it could be the case. If Hercules is contributing knowledge object for the Eurachnos project, but was not involved in the actual development of knowledge objects for Eurachnos as a creator, Hercules needs to have information about the creators of all knowledge objects he is expected to contribute to the EU-FarmBook platform. So all those people could be the same person, but they could also be different persons. If a contributor is a person different than the project coordinator, that person, the contributor, needs to be assigned the role of contributor from the project coordinator. That will allow the contributor to see a list of projects in the first screen of the upload form in order to select and make contributions for that project.
Can I find any of this information on the platform?
You mean the information about which projects are
about how to become a contributor?
Yes, there is information, and we also available, and we will also make available manuals and guides that will detail those processes, how they work very shortly.
Okay, then we have a question also regarding more than one file. You showed actually that you can upload several files, but what if they're connected? Does that show up for the moment other than in the language part? Does that show up already on the FarmBook?
This is a good question. In any case, the different language versions of a knowledge object are physical files that are connected to each other because they are the files through which the content of a knowledge object can become available in different languages. But please keep in mind that by using that feature, we are not supposed to provide other knowledge objects. We are supposed to provide different language versions of the same knowledge object. So in essence, this is a collection of a kind, but keep in mind that this is the collection of the different language versions in which a knowledge object can be available. The concept of collection is broader regarding our work, but for the moment, we do not provide features and functionalities that allow the upload of many knowledge objects forming any other kind of collection apart from being different language versions of the same knowledge object. This is a feature we will provide in the near future. I mean, the upload of different knowledge objects at once, forming part of a broader collection.
And one would then also be able to retroactively add knowledge objects to a specific collection.
Yes, that is something we will be able to take care of because we cannot assume that the moment I provide knowledge objects for a collection, we cannot assume that no more knowledge objects will become available that will relate to that collection. So if more knowledge objects relating to a collection become available in the future from a project, it will be possible to add those knowledge objects to a collection that already exists.
Okay, then we have quite a few questions, be surprised or not, because we're part of a European project about language. So one of the first questions is that whether the title is only going to be shown in English.
Yes, I cannot provide too many details for the moment about this because there are discussions still in progress in our project. What I can say is that we are actively working on multilinguality aspects, which means that very soon we will enable access to the various pages of our platform in languages other than English. But for the moment, we are doing some background research in order to see what is best when it comes to delivering metadata for knowledge objects from a user experience perspective. This means that for the moment, metadata are only available in English and are delivered in English. This is why I said that when using the upload form, all metadata values have to be provided in English, no matter what other languages a knowledge object is available in. So we will soon make decisions about whether metadata will be available in languages other than English. So, for example, when someone accesses the EU-FarmBook platform in Greek and shows any kind of information and text of the platform's pages in Greek, we will make a decision about whether metadata of knowledge objects will also be available in Greek. This is work in progress. And the moment we make decisions, these decisions will be implemented as specific features and solutions in our platform. For the moment, we are researching what is the current state of the art and what is best from a user experience point of view.
So for the moment, all of the content will simply be available in English, except for the one that is uploaded in another language.
Knowledge objects can be available in languages other than English, but any information, any background information related to that knowledge object, which might be available in English or in another language, all background information metadata will be in English. So if the metadata, the knowledge object I used as an example in our session today was available in other languages as well, apart from English. Those other language versions will be available through our platform as physical files to be viewed and even downloaded, but all those language versions metadata will be in English.
Okay. And do we actually provide some automatic translation? I mean, why don't we simply have one document entered in English and then we simply provide an automatic translation? Why wouldn't we do that?
It's not that easy because automatic translation services have indeed advanced a lot, and current advancements in large language models indeed provide advanced translation capabilities. But we need to keep in mind that all these models are generic, which means that they have been trained in general purpose text. And they do not perform that well when it comes to domain-specific terminology, as is the case with the content conveyed and delivered through the knowledge objects developed by EU projects. Our previous experience in the previous projects has let us know that there are translation mistakes which can prove to be quite critical when it comes to automatic translations. We will use them, but there will be also a part of review and revision of those automatic translations by human experts and translators in order to make sure that no translation mistakes persist. Till July 2025, when the major release of our platform is expected, this will be done for any information delivered through the pages of our platform and not for the content of knowledge objects. Any work from our side on automatic translation of content of knowledge objects will be made from the summer of 2025 and on.
Okay, thank you. Then we have a very important question regarding the topics. One person submitted the question that this person is working for the EU Met Horse project, and it's actually one of the first projects that focuses on horses. Well, actually, horses are not really considered as livestock. So where would you upload actually the contributions from this? I mean, there are socioeconomic and sustainable development aspects, but when it comes to the health and well-being of horses, this person doesn't really know where to upload the documents.
So I suppose that the question relates to what topics and subtopics should be selected as an indication of what the content of the knowledge object is about. In this case, I would say that we could try, I mean, there will definitely be projects that are very specialized and there might not be a very good match of the specific topics and subtopics currently available. Let me say that the subtopics we use are also subtopics used by the EU CAP network. So this is where we have taken our subtopics from. The topics we use divide into two broad categories. They are sector-related topics, crop farming, livestock, forestry, and we also have some cross-sectoral topics, environment, society, and economics. In order to better accommodate the needs of projects for which there may not be a perfect match of topics and subtopics with their scope, we enable the selection of more than one topics and subtopics. So this is one way in which we could better cater for the need to provide a topic and subtopic to a project's knowledge objects. In case the people involved in the project are not 100% happy with the topics and subtopics they have selected for their knowledge objects, the best way to point to very specific topics addressed in their knowledge objects is to indicate them with the appropriate use of keywords. Of course, our work on topics and subtopics is ongoing, which means that those lists will be updated and they will not remain the way they are now. They were used in order to have a first list of topics and subtopics to use in order to allow a characterization of knowledge objects. But I would like to motivate our guests. I would like to kindly ask them to provide such indications to us about specialized issues and topics their projects relate to, and let us know about very specific topics and subtopics in order to keep them in mind as part of the work we are doing and we will continue to do regarding the way in which we characterize topics and subtopics. And to do so, you may go to the support section of our platform and use our contact form in order to let us know about such indications and information.
Okay, so you mentioned that the use of the keywords is important. Are these keywords sort of free to add, or is there actually a pre-selected list?
For the moment, they are free to add. On the background, we are trying to match those keywords to standard vocabularies like agrovoc, but people may feel free to provide any keyword or keywords that might make a best fit to the content of their knowledge objects. In case they are aware of standardized vocabularies related to the agricultural or agri-food domain, and could use such standardized keywords like names of agrovoc concepts, that would be even better. But the selection of the keywords to use is up to the knowledge object contributor.
Okay, so we have time for, I think, 3 more questions. One question is actually quite an important one. If I make a mistake, and people do tend to make mistakes sometimes, can I actually edit the knowledge object or the contribution afterwards?
For the moment, this feature is not available. So the best thing we can do, the best thing the contributor can do, I mean, in the case that a mistake has persisted, after all those check and edit checkpoints available, the best thing to do is to get in contact with the EU-FarmBook team, let us know about what the issue is and the correction that has to be made, and we will be able to do so in the background. We are having some discussions about providing knowledge object contributors access to an, let's say, admin panel or an edit panel they will probably be able to use in order to make edits even afterwards. I mean, even after the very final submission of the knowledge object in the platform. For the moment, this is not available. So if such a mistake happens, contact us and we will take care of it.
Okay. And Hercules, I made another mistake. I uploaded my video on YouTube. Can I actually upload it now on the platform, on the EU-FarmBook platform, and do it by means of a link?
We cannot provide just links to the EU-FarmBook platform. This is a decision that has been made at a strategic level. We may probably allow so in the future. But for the moment, in order to make sure that we store in our database the physical files of knowledge objects, in order to facilitate existence of these knowledge objects in the short, medium, and long term, only physical files can be uploaded. Of course, we do not ignore that there is a specific size limit currently in play. We will extend that size limit in order to better cater for, videos of a larger size. But for the moment, we cannot just provide a link pointing to another platform, even if that other platform is YouTube.
Okay, and then time for one final question. If actually my knowledge object is already uploaded, for instance, on the EU CAP network project database, or it is, for instance, in another repository, will it automatically appear, for instance, in the EU-FarmBook?
We are having some discussions at this moment for this topic. It doesn't happen right now. So for the moment, someone has to explicitly implement the upload process in order to make knowledge objects available in the EU-FarmBook platform. The potential to have such direct, let's say, ingestions from one platform to another is something that will be discussed and decided within the consortium of the project. And if we go with such a decision, we will implement this feature in the future. In any case, we will let people know about the existence of such a feature if it is eventually engineered into the platform.
Okay. Well, we are almost up, and therefore I briefly want to share with you as well where you can find a lot of information on topics, for instance, that or questions that you've had maybe during this session. You can go to the EU-FarmBook and go to the support section. When you go here, you can actually access different kinds of frequently asked questions related to different topics, such as using the EU-FarmBook platform, but also on how to upload these contributions. You can see who can upload, if there's a size limit, what formats, how you can upload, and which contributions you can actually upload. So I want to end the session with this message, also because it's actually quite important, as Heracles mentioned, that if you didn't find your answer, you can always reach out to us through the contact form. Now, I see that we are approaching 11 o'clock. If there are certain questions that have not been addressed in this session, we will try to include them in the frequently asked questions section afterwards. And do realize that there will be another session coming up as well. As soon as things are being advanced or updated, we will launch new training sessions to accommodate to you. So with that being said, I would like to thank you for being present, and we wish you a very nice day.
Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.